Hi, everyone, and welcome to the talk, Single Customer View Demystified. Basically, put it simply, it just means what is single customer view, right? And in this session, I'll be talking about what single customer does, why do you need it, and also talk about some technical overview on how you would implement single customer view with ETL process and using some big data technology that are out there in the market. So let's start with some interesting data. With the massive growth of IoT, more and more businesses have been interacting with customers and prospects through various digital channels. And as a result, there's a lot of data being created and stored in the digital spaces. And according to a study done by IDC in 2011, there is more than 1.8 zettabyte of data being created and stored in 2011. And that number will continue to grow 50 times into 2020. So that is a lot of data. And how do we make value out of these data out there? Just imagine every single of the data points is an opportunity for you and your business to learn and connect with the customers in a more meaningful way. So Liferay didn't come up with the term SCV. SCV is not an off-the-shelf product. It is, in fact, a business process of gathering and collecting all digital information relating to your customer and provide an aggregated and comprehensive view about each and one of them. So there are a lot of types of data out there in the digital world, right? For example, there's identity and demographic data. You can collect these data either through web form or you can collect them through online registrations. And also there's browsing activities and behaviors. These data are being collected through maybe Google Analytics. There are support interactions, there are sales interactions that are done through emails or maybe help desk solution that you have in place in your business. And finally, there's transaction data, purchase histories. These data can be provided and gathered through your e-commerce solution, and hopefully it's Liferay e-commerce, right? So with all these data, it helps you paint a complete picture of your customer throughout their customer journey. And so there are two main functions of SCV. There's first part is data aggregations. So you need to extract data from different sources. So these sources could be mobile app, website, your portals, and even SQL databases that might contain data of your customers. And it could also just simply be a CSV file or spreadsheets. I know that a lot of people out there are still using spreadsheets to keep track of information. So you should be able to extract all this data. And once you extract the data out, you should go through the process of cleansing and standardizing the data. Because the data comes from different regions, different sources, you want to make sure they have a standardized format so later on it's easier to analyze. So for example, you should convert all your data such as currency, address, phone number, locations, stuff like that, date and time, into a common format. And also, since the data are coming from different sources, information about the same customers needs to be merged. So, and you can do this through something called PII, which is personal identifiable information. So data such as combinations of emails, first name, last names, address, phone numbers, can help you identify these records belongs to the same person. But you do have to be careful when you collect PIIs. You gotta make sure you have consent of the user that you're collecting this data, and you have to let them know why you're collecting that. Finally, you will structure all these data into a unified data model, index them, so later on you can access them quickly. So the second part of SCV is data visualization and analysis. So once you have all the data in one place, you want to make sense out of them, right? You want to turn them into valuable insights about your customers. You can use these data to build a comprehensive profile. You can also build dashboards and reports to help you keep track of the trends and the behaviors of your customers. And also these, sorry, here we go. So also, these data could be used to calculate important KPIs. So KPIs such as conversion rates, engagement scores, customer lifetime value, and also customer satisfaction score. And with the amount of data that you have, you should also be able to train a machine learning model. So you can do things such as sentiment analysis, interest analysis, and also you can provide a prediction model that helps you identify maybe the most profitable customer segment in your customer base. And lastly, you want to expose these insights and this data back into your current existing technology, such as, you can use it for A/B testing. You can use it for audience targeting and campaign managers. These are valuable insights that can help you drive your business strategy forward. So why do you want to do single customer review? Why go through this process? It seems pretty complicated, right? To put it simply, it's to help you understand your customer better. It is to know who they are, what they do, and eventually leads to what they want. So take your favorite local bar as example, right? You're a frequent customer, you go in there, the bartender knows you, calls you by the name, greets you by name. He fixes you your favorite drinks without even asking you. You don't even have to order. He will ask you about your days, your families, your kids, and then you have good conversation with the bartender and maybe the customer right next to you, right? These are really good experiences for you, and maybe that's why you keep going back to the same bar. So as we move more and more interactions into the digital world, the customers are going to be demanding the same type of personal experiences from different digital channel and devices. So in the digital world, how do we know our customers? How do we learn who they are? And the only way is through better data. And better data will lead to better insights. So what can better insights do for a typical company, right? Better insights might lead to better marketing. For example, a marketer can derive customer interest based on the pages people visited, the article people read, and maybe the search term that they used to find things on your website. Then you will be able to provide and send promotions that are relevant to them, to their interest, to help them make the purchase. And better insights also give you better sales. With a complete view of your customers, and especially with historical data, sales might be able to identify, the needs, the budget, and the timing of a potential customers, so you can close the deal quicker. And we don't have to stop there, right? Once they become your customer, they might have issues. They might run into problems with the service or the product they purchased from you. They will be looking online, they will be searching for FAQs, and they're going to be reporting bugs or issues through your help desk application. So these data are also important, and it helps support, understand there's a potential problem that a customer might run into, so you can proactively, provide some assistance, either through better documentation maybe, or through better training or self-service support to help them solve the problem quickly or even before it arises. And it also helps with better retention. Again, we want to be proactive here. You want to keep track of trends, behaviors that might lead to unhappy customers. So you want to help them before it's too late. And same goes to the happy customer too. Happy customers, they're more than likely to become a renewal and upsell opportunities, right? So you want to keep engaging them so they will continue to do business with you. And all of this basically adds up to a better experience for your customers. And I think a better experience for your customer will lead to a happier customer. And I think that's all we want to do. So, how do we make this million rows of data? There's a lot of data out there. They're raw. How do we make them into valuable insights? And you can do this through data discovery, data science, and through ETL process. So before we start, you want to do some preparation, right? You want to identify where are the data sources that you can access, that you can extract, and also you want to know what you want to measure and analyze, so you can find the relevant data to extract. And it's also important, as an implementer or as a developer for SCV, to know the business process. You want to know and understand how the data is being collected through your business process, how are they updated, and how are they being used. You want to make sure these data are constantly being maintained and kept fresh, because in the end, stale data will not provide good insights. And last, but the most important, I think, it is a company-wide effort. In order to create a good single customer view implementation, you require inputs from different departments, including sales, finance, and operations, as well as marketing. And these departments will have different dimensions of data, and that can eventually help you create a comprehensive view of your customer. So once you have your data all figured out, process all figured out, you will go through a more technical process called ETL. So how many of you guys know what ETL is? Show of hands. Have you done anything with ETL? Yeah, it's pretty simple. It means extract, transform, and load. Right? Extracts just means extracting data from different data sources, both structured or unstructured data. Then you transforming the data by cleaning, filtering, merging, and applying business logic to it. Then you load this transformed data to a queryable database or data warehouse, ready for visualization and analysis. So when we're talking about single customer view, there's a large amount of data coming from large amount of data sources. You want to make sure that you implement an infrastructure, an ETL pipeline that is robust and also very scalable. So I want to show you an example of a pretty basic ETL pipeline using some of the big data strategy and big data technology out there. So here we go. So on the left side, these are all the sources that you might want to extract data from, right? And first, we want to go through extract phase. I think for extraction phase, I really recommend Apache Spark. Anyone have used Spark before? 1, 2, yeah. So it's a distributed engine for large-scale data processing. And it has a huge and strong community out there, and the documentation is very good, and it scales very well, and it's very easy to implement. You can write an application and processor quickly by using Java, Scala, Python, or R. So there's a lot of supports out there. So once you extract the data, in my personal opinion, it is a good thing to adopt a two-phase model for transformation and load. And I'll explain later why this is useful. Okay, so but for the first phase of transformation here, you will want to just do simple things such as doing some data cleansing, right? Doing some filtering, so you will not track data that you don't want to track and track data that you shouldn't be tracking, right? And then you will convert the data, maybe some data fields, into a standard format for easy analysis later. Then you will load it to a data store, and this is the first stage of the data store. The data here is still a little bit raw, just only going through a slight transformations. It is also unstructured. So some of the technology that is good here will be Amazon S3, Google Cloud Storage, if you want to store the data in the cloud. For on-premise purposes, you can use Cassandra or other NoSQL databases. So we move on to the second phase of transformation and load. And here, I think it's an important part. For the second phase of transformation, this is when you actually manipulate the data. You do calculation on the data so you can have a curated view of your business. So what does that mean? So for each of the key entity and metrics that you want to track, you want to apply those business logic to the raw data that you had stored in the first phase. And you create a cleaner table with all of the metrics, all of the KPI, all of the dimension about your customer that you frequently use. So for example, like a user or a customer table that might contain metrics such as sign-up time, a number of purchases, total of revenue from this user, and information dimensions such like geographical information or demographic information, right? And the reason you want to do it in two phases is because these are business requirements that might change. You might have to recalculate some of these metrics. You might have to recalculate these insights. And at the same time, this matrix change all the time. When new data comes in, some of the KPI will have to recalculate it. So you don't want to lose any raw data here. You want to persist them as long as you can, as long as they're useful. And there are cases that you might want to purge some of the data in the first phase, maybe because they're not relevant anymore, or maybe they're too old, you can archive them, right? So, and this is why we want to do it in two phases. For the second phase of the data storage, you notice I picked different technology too. And that's because I believe for the second phase of data storage, you want to have something that is SQL queryable. And I think queryable was the word. But and the reason why is this. Most of the data analysts, most of the data scientists out there in marketing, in sales, in operations, the adoption of SQL is wide. It's huge. They know SQLs, and also some of the business intelligence tools out there, they integrate very well with SQLs. So you don't want to miss the opportunity, to have the data in people's hand so they can access them quickly. So some of the technology you might be using here on the cloud, it could be Google BigQuery, Presto, I think it's on-premise, Amazon Redshift, obviously it's on AWS. And finally, again, once you loaded the data in the data store, they are ready to be visualized and analyzed by different BI tools out there. So you can use Tableau to make queries, and you can use Mode, Periscope, I don't know why I put that there, or Chartio, right? And also you can use these data to create your own applications and your own view of the customers. So at this point, you have a pretty basic and robust infrastructure to do ETL and implement single customer view. So, what is Liferay's strategy regarding to SCV, right? We understand to implement an ETL process from scratch and also maintaining the infrastructure for big data, it might be a daunting task and it might be difficult and time consuming, right? So we want to build tools and platforms that help you do ETLs, that help you do data transformation quickly and easily. So at Liferay here, we've been working on a product. It's called Liferay SCV. It's a very creative name. And we want to be able to provide the ETL pipeline as a service. Let us worry about infrastructure. Let us worry about the performance and scalability. So you can focus on business logic, such as extracting data, transforming data, and loading the data. And also we want to provide APIs, out-of-the-box API and pre-built connectors to help you extract data from well-known third-party applications such as Salesforce, Marketo, HubSpot, and definitely also Liferay Portal itself. This will integrate very well with Liferay Portal. And on the visualization part, we want to also create an easy way through UI for business users, maybe marketers, to create a unified customer profile. You can pick and choose on any data that you store in SCV, display them however you want, and some of them, these cards, we'll call them the data cards, will be out of the box, and they will provide visualization as you need. And also, for marketers or other data analysts, they're interested in creating segments of users, right? So for any data that you store, any attribute that you store about a customer, you can use these as criteria to basically lump and cluster people together as a segment. You can track trending, you can track behavior of them, and you can also track all the other insights about this segment of customers. At the same time, SCV can also do some machine learning and cluster segmentation automatically. So this might help you identify some of the audiences out there that you've never thought about. And lastly, out of the box, as long as you provide enough sufficient data that fit our data model, we want to make sure we automatically calculate some of the insights for you. These insights such as NPS score, interest analysis, and customer lifetime values. As long as it fits our data model, we understand the data, we'll calculate for you, and you will be able to see it in the customer view. So this is very exciting, and we've made a lot of progress last year on the development front for this product. And there's still a lot of challenge out there, and there's still a problem to be solved. But I'm really, really excited to be able to announce that by next year, Q2, we'll have Liferay single customer view available. And I am not going to give too much detail. I know you're taking the pictures. It's evidence right there. So I'm not going to give too much details. I think it's important that you attend Ed Chung's keynotes today about the DXP roadmap. There you will learn more about how SCV fits into the overall strategy of DXP. And then they will also talk about more of the roadmap, a more detailed roadmap about SCV plus other products. So I think that's all I have today. And I hope you guys find it helpful and enjoyable. So thank you. Oh, I have one more. Can we just leave this up here? I think these are some of the recommended talks that might help provide better insights about single customer reviews. I think they're both this afternoon. So if we can just leave it up here so you can take a look at it, definitely attend the roadmap talk. So we can do Q&A.
3? Okay.
Oh, we have.
Okay, we
Doesn't
have
matter.
time for maybe 3 questions. So anyone have any questions? Okay.
So thank you for the presentation. So from the cloud side, so from Liferay side, it's going to be just to handle the old product that you're going to have on the cloud. Mm-hmm. So in that part, Liferay doesn't have anything developed there. It's just handling the code, handling the installation, performance, and everything. So Liferay from just handling that part, and then from the UI part, they're just going to handle how to show this data. Is that sounds right?
Yeah, I think out of the box also, Liferay single customer review will also handle data transformations. So what we do, in more technical details, what we do is as long as you push the data into our system and you identify what type of data it is, what we use is a unified data model, which is called, we use schema.org, basically. If those matches, we understand exactly what that data is, we'll automatically do some transformation for you. So you don't even need to do transformation. But at the same time, we want to make sure it's extendable, so you can provide your own business logic for transformation.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Will the user interface support localization for other markets?
Mm-hmm. So I already heard about that question yesterday,
At
and I took a whole day thinking about it.
At least if it's on the roadmap, or
Yeah, it's definitely on the roadmap, but I think I want to clarify with you is when you talk about localization on the user interface, are you just strictly talking about translation and language keys? Or I was actually thinking about different countries, different regions actually view data in a different way. and they process data in a different way. So that actually, other than translation of the app, it's there's a lot of challenge there. You know, in different countries, they might see customer engagement score or customer satisfaction score in a completely different way, right? Using completely different data. And so I think, and also just the data standard, like date times and stuff, those I think single customer view will be able to handle. But the challenge there will be, how do we actually know in different countries, different regions, what type of business process they do to interpret these data, right? So that, I don't have an answer for you right now. But on the roadmap, definitely, you know, the app itself will be localized. And I know that's important. Yeah.
Do we have any other questions? Oh.
Is this in any way connected to a system like LCS or in a similar service?
I think that is still in the discussions. Right now, at this moment, yes. Yeah. So you're wondering maybe do you need LCS in order to use this, right? I think we're still figuring that out. I think the goal here is if we want to be able to integrate with any system, ideally you might also run into the use case that you don't integrate with anything in Liferay. Whether we think that is valuable, whether we want to do it that way, I'm not sure. So, but that's a really good question. Thank you.